You won't believe how fast a car brand can disappear. Most people think car companies die slowly, over decades of decline and bad decisions. But the truth is far more brutal. Car brands don't fade away anymore, they collapse overnight. One year they dominate roads and ads, and the next year factories are silent, dealerships are empty, and owners are left stranded. Right now, several major car brands are closer to that edge than anyone wants to admit. Here's what nobody is talking about: this collapse is happening faster than ever before. The auto industry is changing at a speed we've never seen in 100 years. Electric vehicles, rising interest rates, shrinking consumer budgets, strict emissions laws, and ruthless global competition are colliding all at once. Some brands simply don't have the money, the technology, or the time to survive this storm. This might shock you: cars aren't the problem at all. Cars will always exist. The real question is which brands will still exist 2 years from now. Survival today has nothing to do with reputation or history. It's about cash flow, software, battery supply, manufacturing scale, and speed of execution. And many brands are failing on every front. Here's where things start going wrong for legacy automakers. For decades, they depended on gasoline vehicles to generate profit. Now governments are tightening emissions rules, especially in Europe. Selling gas-powered cars is becoming more expensive every year. Fines are rising, compliance costs are exploding, and profit margins are shrinking fast. Meanwhile, electric vehicles, the supposed lifeline, aren't selling as expected. This is the nightmare scenario nobody planned for. Gas cars are being regulated out of existence, but electric cars still aren't profitable enough to save struggling brands. EVs remain expensive, charging infrastructure is unreliable, and buyers are hesitant. That leaves some companies trapped in the worst possible position, bleeding money from both sides. Here's a dangerous truth most buyers never hear: debt is killing car brands silently. Many automakers borrowed billions when interest rates were low to expand factories and invest in EVs. That era is gone. Interest rates are high, refinancing is painful, and slowing sales mean shrinking cash flow. Some brands are now spending more money servicing debt than developing new cars. This is where things get even uglier. Every quarter of weak sales pushes fragile companies closer to collapse. Instead of innovating, they're cutting costs. Instead of improving products, they're delaying launches. Debt doesn't just slow a company down, it suffocates it. Here's another red flag people ignore: many car brands don't know who they're selling to anymore. Their cars are too expensive for budget buyers, not premium enough for luxury buyers, and too outdated for tech-focused consumers. They're stuck in the middle, and in any market downturn, middle brands die first. This is why brand loyalty is disappearing fast. When money gets tight, buyers don't stay loyal, they get practical. They abandon brands that don't offer clear value. That's why several once popular automakers are watching customers walk away with no emotional attachment at all. Pay attention to this warning sign: dealerships always know first. When dealers stop renovating showrooms, reduce inventory, or quietly close locations, it's not random. Dealers see real numbers every day. They know which cars sit unsold for months and which warranties are becoming liabilities. A shrinking dealer network is often the last signal before a brand collapses. Here's the global threat most Western brands weren't ready for: China. Chinese automakers are flooding markets with cheaper, better-equipped electric vehicles. Massive government support allows them to sell cars for prices others can't compete with. For companies already struggling with high labor costs and slow innovation, this competition is devastating. And here's the killer most people overlook: software. Modern cars are no longer just machines. They're computers on wheels. Brands that can't develop reliable, fast, user-friendly software are falling behind every single year. Glitches, frozen screens, and buggy updates are driving buyers away instantly. This is where expectations changed forever. Tesla reset the standard. Consumers now expect constant updates, smooth interfaces, and smart features. Brands still relying on outdated systems or third-party software feel ancient by comparison, and buyers notice. Here's how trust gets destroyed almost instantly: recalls, engine failures, battery fires, software crashes. Once consumers lose confidence, it spreads like wildfire online. Social media amplifies every failure. A single defect can destroy a global reputation in weeks, not years. And this next part is especially terrifying. Many brands are betting everything on vehicles that haven't launched yet. Entire survival strategies depend on one or two future models. If those launches fail, there is no backup plan. No financial cushion. No second chance. This is why the next 2 years are so dangerous. Executives will keep promising turnarounds. Marketing will stay optimistic. Ads will keep running. But behind the scenes, factories are slowing, layoffs are increasing, and options are running out. Here's the hard truth nobody wants to accept: brands never warn you before they fail. They deny reality until the very end. Investors hear optimism, consumers see commercials, then suddenly, everything stops. We've seen this movie before. Pontiac, Saab, Saturn, Daewoo, they all believed they had more time. They all thought a turnaround was coming. It never did. And here's the most shocking part: some of the brands at risk today still sell hundreds of thousands of cars a year. Some have legendary names and decades of history. But heritage doesn't pay bills. Profits do. This is why the collapse won't look dramatic at first. It will look normal, quiet, slow, until it isn't. Here's where the real danger begins: the brands most likely to disappear fall into very specific traps. Once a car company slips into one of these categories, escape becomes nearly impossible. The first group is legacy automakers that waited far too long to take electric vehicles seriously. For years, they milked gas-powered cars for profit while promising future innovation. Now they're rushing unfinished EVs to market, built on platforms never meant for electric power, and customers can feel it instantly. This is why so many new EV launches are failing quietly. High prices, disappointing range, slow charging, and buggy software are killing excitement before it even starts. Buyers compare these cars to competitors and walk away without hesitation. One failed EV launch today doesn't just hurt sales, it can erase a brand's future. But here's the twist no one expected: some brands are collapsing for the opposite reason. They went all in on electric vehicles too early. They assumed demand would explode forever, government incentives would never end, and consumers would happily pay premium prices. Reality hit hard. Demand cooled, incentives shrank, and suddenly these companies were stuck with massive factories, unsold inventory, and no way out. This is where things spiral fast. To move inventory, prices get slashed. Slashed prices destroy profit margins. Destroyed margins mean fewer updates, fewer improvements, and fewer buyers. It becomes a death loop that's almost impossible to escape. Here's another uncomfortable truth: small and niche brands are running out of oxygen. In the past, being niche made you special. Today, it makes you vulnerable. Designing a modern car costs billions. Designing an electric car costs even more. Batteries, software, safety systems, and regulations are crushing expenses that only large-scale manufacturers can survive. This is why partnerships and mergers are exploding right now. But here's the problem: many of these brands don't have enough time left to finalize deals. By the time help arrives, the damage is already done. And don't think luxury brands are safe. This might surprise you the most. Luxury buyers are ruthless. They expect perfection. When a luxury EV has glitches, recalls, or poor range, buyers don't wait for fixes. They leave immediately. Once luxury customers walk away, they rarely come back. Here's why luxury brands are panicking behind closed doors. A single tech failure can destroy years of brand prestige. And in the EV era, technology matters more than leather seats or chrome badges. Now let's talk about the issue crushing everyone at once: affordability. Cars are more expensive than ever. Monthly payments are breaking records. Interest rates are brutal. Insurance costs are exploding. When buyers are forced to choose between housing and transportation, brand loyalty evaporates instantly. This is where bloated brands suffer the most. Companies that built pricing models for a world of cheap loans and endless demand are watching buyers vanish. And once demand drops, everything else follows. Here's the silent signal most people miss: layoffs. When automakers start cutting thousands of jobs, it's rarely about efficiency. It's about survival. Layoffs reduce costs short-term but slow innovation long-term. And once innovation stops, decline accelerates. Pay attention to this warning sign: leadership chaos. When CEOs rotate constantly, strategies change every year. Products get delayed, platforms get cancelled, investors lose confidence, employees lose direction, consumers lose trust. Several brands right now are stuck in this exact cycle. Here's another threat hitting at the worst possible time: regulation. Safety rules, emission standards, and cybersecurity laws are tightening globally. Compliance is expensive, and failure means massive fines or bans. Big, healthy companies absorb these costs. Weak brands get crushed by them. And here's a factor that accelerates collapse faster than anything else: resale value. When resale values fall, leasing becomes expensive. Financing becomes harder. Buyers lose confidence. Nobody wants a car that might be worthless in 3 years because the brand no longer exists. This creates a terrifying chain reaction. Falling resale values scare buyers. Fewer buyers hurt sales. Lower sales push resale values even lower. Once this cycle starts, collapse accelerates fast. Here's what makes all of this so dangerous: most people won't notice until it's too late. Brands don't announce failure. They quietly shrink. Fewer models, fewer dealerships, fewer incentives. Then one day, the showroom is gone. This is why buyers need to think beyond features and test drives. Buying from a dying brand risks more than depreciation. It risks parts shortages, abandoned software, warranty nightmares, and resale disasters. Meanwhile, here's the uncomfortable reality: the strongest brands are getting stronger. They're cash-rich, vertically integrated, software-driven, and ruthless about cutting losses. They adapt fast and don't cling to tradition. This is the future of the auto industry. It won't be fair. It won't be sentimental. It will reward speed, scale, and execution. Over the next 2 years, the industry will look unrecognizable. Some famous names will vanish. Others will be absorbed or quietly phased out. And when it happens, people will say they were shocked. But the signs were always there. The car industry isn't dying. It's evolving. And evolution doesn't care about history. The brands that survive will be leaner, smarter, and faster. The ones that don't will become warnings. And if you're paying attention now, you won't be surprised when the logos disappear.